animal, the parts that we do eat, are called clean. It's crucial that these two types of product don't come into contact with each other. If this happens, the clean will be contaminated by the dirty. Keeping dirty and clean parts of the animal separate is the single biggest hygiene problem in the abattoir, the part of the meat processing plant where the live animal is turned into a carcass. The factory's designed so that this cross-contamination does not take place, and the most skilled operators make sure that dirty products never contaminate clean meat. Let's see what this means in practice. This man has to be very careful that the hand that touches the hide does not touch the meat. This is wrong. Only by making sure that the hand which touches the outside of the animal does not touch the edible flesh will the meat remain safe to eat. These workers have to take care that the fleece, the dirty exterior of the sheep, does not touch the clean carcass meat. The reason these workers wash their power saws after cutting every carcass is to stop microbes from the dirty part of one carcass coming into contact with the clean parts of another carcass. These workers wash and sterilize their knives between carcasses for the same reason. These workers, who are removing the guts from the animal, have to be particularly careful. If the guts, which are dirty, are removed correctly, they come out in one piece, without any of the contents splashing onto the clean flesh. This is important for all animals, whether they are cows, or pigs, or sheep. This is wrong. The contents of the gut containing millions of harmful microbes have started to come out and spill onto the meat which will be eaten. This is how food poisoning starts. If this happens, the carcass must immediately be washed. Cross-contamination can also occur when meat touches the floor. This is because the floor is covered with debris and bits of meat, which are from inedible parts of the animal. If meat falls on the floor, do not pick it up and put it back on the line. Put it in the container provided or speak to your supervisor.
Well, it's like every food industry, you don't want dirt on your meat at the end of the line. It's got to be the cleaner it's kept all the way along, the better it is for everybody, really.
So, in the first stage of meat processing, cross-contamination is the biggest hygiene problem. Careful work practices and concentration will control it, and this is why you are taught to work in certain ways. In the second stage of meat processing, where the carcass is turned into food, other hygiene problems become more important. We'll look at some of these problems in the rest of this film. It's easy for microbes to find places to grow in food factories. Because all they need are warmth, food, moisture and time, the ideal breeding grounds for them are people, you. In particular, they live in your gut, your mouth, nose, ears and hair. They are especially common in spots and cuts. To microbes, your body is a paradise. It's easy to prove these microbes exist, even though they can't be seen with the naked eye. A contact plate can be pressed onto the human body. This transfers the microbes onto the gel. The plate is then incubated so that the microbes multiply to such huge numbers that they can clearly be seen. Here a hand has been tested. As you can see, the fingers were covered with microbes. As you work on the production line, these microbes have lots of opportunities to get onto the meat you're handling. If you scratch yourself, they get onto your hands or gloves and then onto the meat. If you pop out for a cigarette, they get from your mouth onto your hands, then onto the meat. When you go to the toilet, particularly harmful microbes get onto your hands, even if they look clean. Once on the meat, they may have several days or even weeks in which to grow before the meat is eaten. In this time, they may have reached dangerously high numbers. How can you stop this happening? The answer is simple: personal cleanliness. Keeping yourself clean by washing and showering every day will control the microbes on your body. But be careful not to use perfume or aftershave on working days, as the smells from these can taint the food. Keep yourself clean by washing your hands before starting work, after going to the toilet, after having any sort of break. And avoid scratching yourself or biting your nails whilst on the line. When you wash your hands, make sure you do it thoroughly. A quick rinse is no good at all. The microbes can hide in the furrows of the skin and behind the nails. Only a thorough washing, using bactericidal hand soap and a scrubber brush for the nails, will remove the germs. After washing your hands, be careful where you dry them. Your overalls are good homes for microbes. This contact plate is crawling with bacteria, which have come from a small section of clothing. This is why, in the food industry, hands must be dried with disposable paper towels. Some factories also have disinfectant for you to put on your hands. This is very effective at killing microbes and should always be used as the final step after drying your hands. This agar plate shows germs grown from a hand washed with soap. This one shows germs from hands which were washed and disinfected. There is another very important reason to follow these rules. Cattle, pigs and sheep can carry all sorts of diseases that can be harmful to people. If you touch the animal, then yourself, these diseases may transfer from the animal to you. If you don't wash your hands thoroughly after your shift, you may take disease home with you. This is especially important if you work in the early stages when the animal is still warm. Personal hygiene is a two-way thing. Stop microbes getting from you onto the meat, and stop them getting from the meat onto you. Clothes are another aspect